the stories would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porcupines probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her, and in order to cover up.
Many people doubt Meghan has long been a mother, following her attendance at Northwestern University, and the couple got married after having a child when Meghan was almost 20.
So all of these lies started coming out, but we didn't know that she had told the royal family so many porcupines.
Given her appearance, Noelle does share some similarities with Jo and Meghan, and she's even more like Meghan.
So it makes sense. Oh my God, I've got to keep everybody away, because if they start talking, the lies come out.
Classic.
Let's be real for a second. If royal hypocrisy was an Olympic event, Meghan Markle wouldn't just be on the podium. She'd have more gold hanging around her neck than Michael Phelps at the peak of his career. It's a bold claim, I know, but every time we hear another lecture on authenticity or finding your truth from the Montecito mansion, you can practically hear the collective click of the world checking their Wi-Fi. It's like, did she really just say that, or did the audio glitch? But here's the thing, there's a plot twist brewing that even the most expensive PR teams in London and LA didn't see coming.
What we said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable. Nobody printed that. And when I said nothing, they created stories, and it was really just...
Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister and longtime thorn in her side, just dropped a massive hint. And it's not just another "my sister is mean" tweet. This is something that makes the carefully filtered Pinterest perfect life Meghan's been selling look like a deleted scene from a royal edition of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
But there were so many of them. And why? It would have been so easy to be honest about who she is.
For the last few years, the narrative has been modern Cinderella, the girl who married the prince, survived the vultures of the British press, and rose above it all to live this pristine activist life. It's a cute story. It really is. Except the Merle truth bomb that just went off hits harder than any tabloid headline we've seen yet.
She's reinvented herself so many times throughout the last 44 years.
We're talking whispers of a secret 30-year-old daughter. We're talking DNA questions that nobody, and I mean nobody, at the palace wants to touch with a 10-foot pole. Now, full disclaimer here. We aren't saying there's hard proof. Not yet. But when Samantha speaks, it's rarely by accident. This wasn't a rant. It was a detonation. When your own blood starts talking about buried stories and cleaned-up pasts, it stops being shaved. It becomes a warning. And if Meghan thought her silence was a shield, she's about to realize that sometimes silence is just the loudest confession you can make.
I wrote to the state of California birth records office. I wrote to them and I said, I don't have documentation. All I have is this data. They conducted a search with finding if a Rachel Meghan Markle had given birth in the state of California, if she has any other children. You'll be surprised to see what they gave me. They can't find the child, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, but they did tell me that a Miss Rachel Meghan Markle gave birth to a child in 1997. They can't disclose the details because those were sealed. And look at the date these documents were sealed.
To understand why people are suddenly losing their minds over this, we have to go back, way back, not to the wedding, but to a random moment in 2019 that almost everyone missed.
She was a caddy for all of my celebrities. I had Joe Montana. Anybody that's here was at my tournament in 2008.
Picture this. Actress Paula Tricky is doing an interview. It's casual, low stakes.
She was one of the Jill and Ojo girls that were caddies that I pawned them off as caddies to the highest bidders. She was so loved. I'm laughing because I'm like, good for her. I mean, she met the prince. She made a great life for herself. Good for her.
And then out of nowhere, she drops a nuke. She says, almost like she's talking about the weather, "Oh, Meghan." She'd already been married, and she already had a child.
Everything you're not supposed to be. Multi-ethnic, and she's been married. She already has a kid from someone.
The interviewer didn't even flinch. The internet at the time barely yawned.
Why?
Because in 2019, the Meghan PR machine was running at 110%. They were working harder than the Buckingham Palace tea staff during a coronation. Anything that didn't fit the Hollywood princess mold was swept under the rug faster than you can say Mexit. Paula didn't provide a birth certificate. She didn't name names. It was just a single sentence that aged like open champagne in the sun. Nobody took it seriously because the fan base was too busy memorizing Oprah quotes and pretending that the Netflix special was actual history instead of a highly produced Hollywood drama. But fast forward to now. That tiny comment, it's become the internet's favorite unsolved mystery.
I'll tell you why. What she told the royal family, what she told Harry, wouldn't have jived, wouldn't have been consistent with the truth.
Because once Samantha Markle started hinting at things the public doesn't know, people went back. They dug up that old clip, and suddenly it wasn't just crazy gossip anymore. It was a breadcrumb. A breadcrumb that leads straight into a timeline Meghan has spent a decade trying to erase. Maybe Paul Tricky didn't start a rumor. Maybe she just tripped over a secret that was never supposed to exist in the first place. Because in the royal world, secrets don't actually disappear. They just sit in the dark waiting for the cameras to start rolling again. If Paula Tricky lit the match, Samantha Markle showed up with a literal flamethrower.
And to be proud and to empower other women when she's out there using her platform, be proud of who you are, work hard. You don't have to pretend to be someone else. You don't have to dress like Diana. You don't have to say you got grants and scholarships. Give accolades to those who bring you up.
Now, I know what the critics say. Oh, Samantha is just jealous. She's just trying to get paid. And hey, maybe there's some truth to that. But here's what's different this time. She didn't scream. She didn't do a frantic tabloid interview. She used restraint. And in the world of royal PR, restraint is the most dangerous weapon you have. For years, Meghan treated Samantha like a distant, annoying cousin who was just looking for a press pass. But when Samantha finally spoke up recently, she didn't just throw accusations. She dropped implications. There are stories that were buried, she said. A past that was cleaned up, writing the lines there. That's PR kryptonite. When a blood relative starts talking like a narrator in a true crime documentary, the world stops and listens. Every word dripped with this calm, surgical menace. It was like she was saying, I could end this right now, but you aren't ready for the truth yet. And suddenly the vibe shifted. People didn't see a bitter sister anymore. They saw someone who might actually be holding the receipts. Samantha didn't need to provide a DNA test on a silver platter. She just needed to plant the seed. And boy, did it grow.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right. And everything she said has come true.
Within hours, the internet was dissecting old interviews frame by frame. YouTubers were analyzing body language from 2004. Hashtags were being born in the middle of the night. She never said what was buried. She just confirmed the shovel existed, and that was more than enough to start the fire. When the internet smells blood in the water, it doesn't just swim. It builds a 500 feet conspiracy yacht and invites everyone on board. That is exactly what happened the moment Samantha's buried past comment went viral. Suddenly, you had amateur detectives, people who probably should have been doing their actual jobs, connecting dots that Meghan thought she'd deleted years ago. A theory started to take shape. At first, it sounded wild. No way, right? But then it started looking disturbingly consistent. The theory that somewhere out there, a woman in her late 20s, someone who was born right as Meghan's career was just starting to flicker to life, shares her DNA. Again, no documents, no photos, just a list of missing years.
If this lady, Rachel Meghan Markle, gave birth in 1997, why is she sealing these documents now? We know that she had her marriage documents sealed at the first or second marriage to Trevor Engelson. They got married. People think that she got married in Jamaica. No, she got married in a civil ceremony in California, and she had those documents sealed. The wedding certificate is sealed. She didn't even tell her father, her mother, nobody. They just grab random witnesses because when Ninake Pretty wasn't even there. So why wait so many years to seal these documents on December 2018?
Fans started scouring yearbooks, alumni records, and old family photos from the Markle side. And what they found wasn't proof, but it was something worse for a public image. It was a pattern. Every time Meghan talks about her single girl days or her time at Northwestern, the timeline seems to. It's like watching a movie where a whole chapter was edited out in the middle. You can feel the jump cut. And when the palace crowd calls it nonsense, it just pours high-octane gasoline on the fire. Because if it's so fake, why not just disprove it? Why the silence? Before long, Reddit threads were mapping out missing months. TikTokers were decoding every awkward pause in old interviews like they were CIA analysts. Even the skeptical reporters started whispering, maybe this isn't just fanfiction. Maybe the silence is strategic. Every good conspiracy needs a villain. Or, at the very least, a name that people can plug into a Google search bar at 3 a.m. while they're down the rabbit hole. Enter Joseph Giuliano.
Meghan was researching the prince online and found out that the prince is now duped, so I can now go ahead and marry him. At that stage, Meghan contacted Joe, told him that, look, if you open your mouth, I'm gonna sue you.
For a while, Joe was the internet's favorite missing puzzle piece. He was the ghost groom, the guy who supposedly married Meghan before the first marriage we all know about. People were convinced he was the father of this mystery child. The forums went into a full-on meltdown. People were posting photos of random blonde guys from the early 2000s, claiming it was him. YouTube thumbnails were screaming secret marriage exposed in all caps. It was a digital fever dream. But here's the problem with the Joe Giuliano story. There is more evidence that Bigfoot has a LinkedIn profile than there is proof Joe and Meghan ever tied the knot. No marriage license, no verified wedding photos. Not a single actual friend from that era has come forward to say, yeah, I was at the ceremony. As the frenzy grew, the cracks became impossible to ignore. The timelines didn't match up. The wedding details were full of holes. Even the most hardcore rumor mongers had to back off. Not because they liked Meghan, but because the story just didn't have legs. But that's where it gets interesting. If the Giuliano lead was a dead end, who planted it? Because the timing was a bit too perfect. It felt like a distraction. A smokescreen designed to keep people looking at the wrong man, so they wouldn't look at the actual family tree.
A lot of people are saying, oh, this is from her first boyfriend that was, but it's not him. Apparently it was the cousin. It's pretty shocking, isn't it?
Just when the internet was about to give up on the mystery, things took a turn that belongs in a daytime soap opera. People stopped looking for a stranger and started looking at the family they already knew. That's when the spotlight hit Sean Johnson, Meghan's cousin. Now, if you're like most people, you had to Google that name. But once you did, the sleuth started hyperventilating. The theory shifted. What if the secret child wasn't hidden in some basement in LA? What if the child was right there in plain sight, but the labels had been changed? We're talking about bloodline rearrangement. The idea that a baby was reclassified, a paper trail was misplaced, and the family was sworn to permanent silence to keep things neat and tidy for the future. Is it far-fetched? Of course it is. It sounds insane.
Sean Johnson finally came out and talked against Meghan Markle, that her friend is now saying that, yeah, they did hook up. And not only that, she did get pregnant.
But tell that to the people who are freeze-framing old home movies, looking for the marl nose or the raglan smile in places they didn't expect to find it. People are looking at the warmth and affection between cousins and seeing something else entirely. They aren't looking for facts anymore. They're looking for vibes. And in the court of public opinion, a vibe can be more damaging than a court order. Suddenly, family resemblance became the new DNA test. And all anyone got in response was more of that same unnerving silence. Just as the rumors were starting to lose steam, a new artifact appeared. A letter. Now, we aren't talking about a leaked email. We're talking about a physical message allegedly connected to Samantha Markle. And let me tell you, this thing sent the internet into an absolute tailspin. Screenshots started flying around. Claims were being made that this letter mentioned tests, truth, and a family matter that was never resolved. The handwriting was debated. The authenticity was questioned. But the timing was a work of art. It dropped right when Meghan was trying to pivot back to her lifestyle brand image. Suddenly, instead of talking about her new strawberry jam, people were talking about DNA tests again.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample.
Samantha played it cool. She didn't confirm it was hers, but she didn't deny it either. In Merle speak, that means I've said exactly what I needed to say. Now, let's watch the panic. It was the perfect storm. One sister holding silence like a loaded gun, the other acting like she's above it all while her team presumably breaks into a cold sweat behind the scenes. Conspiracy theorists were convinced this letter was the smoking gun that pointed to a private revelation scrubbed from the public record. Was it real? Who knows? But in this game, perception is the only thing that matters. And right now, the perception is that the Markle family tree has some very deep, very tangled roots. You'd think after all this time, the world would get bored.
One thing is curious. He does mention that she looked pregnant in the article, but he says that's me standing with her, but he doesn't deny it. Her cousin in this article did not flat out deny and say that she wasn't pregnant with my child. He just says she looked pregnant and that's me standing with her. People were saying all kinds of crazy things. Why can't you just deny it?
Most scandals have the shelf life of a carton of milk. 1 week you're the main character. The next week you're who? But not this. This rumor has the survival instincts of a cockroach. Every time it gets buried, someone somewhere digs it back up.
Why?
It's because Meghan built her entire brand on control. Everything is curated. Every smile is practiced. Every spontaneous moment feels like it was blocked by a director. And when you build a brand that is that perfect, that polished, people naturally want to see the crack in the porcelain. They want to find the thing that wasn't scripted. Samantha knows this. She uses it like a scalpel. She doesn't need to drop a bombshell every day. She just needs to nudge the algorithm. One cryptic tweet, one no-comment interview, and the digital kingdom catches fire all over again. And let's be honest, the media loves it. Outlets pretend to be shocked by the rumors while they rake in the clicks. Fans defend her to the death, which just creates more engagement, haters, and the royal PR machine just keeps spinning until they're dizzy. The DNA secret might stay buried forever. It might not even exist. But the mystery is profitable. The mystery is what keeps the lights on.
Talk to Andrew Morton, talk to Tom Bauer. All of these people that have written books about her have been like, it's a struggle to get to the truth of who this female was before she meets Prince Harry.
So, where does that leave us? Maybe the truth isn't hidden at all. Maybe it's just waiting for the right moment. Because in the world of the Markles, silence isn't peace. It's pressure. It's the kind of pressure that builds up behind a perfect smile until something has to give. Samantha might have started this with a whisper, but it's the reaction that keeps us watching. Every unanswered question, every no comment, every time a timeline doesn't quite add up, it just makes the mystery louder. People aren't asking if there's a secret anymore. They're just asking when the dam is finally going to break. And speaking of dams breaking, if you thought this was wild, you need to see what we've uncovered about the other side of the palace. Remember that Tom Bauer expose? Well, we just found out how Meghan's team reacted the second those pages hit the printer. Let's just say the calm and collected image didn't survive the first chapter. The panic behind those polished curtains. It's deeper than you think. And we're covering all of it in our next video. You don't want to miss it because when the secrets start leaking, you don't look away. You dig deeper. This is Crown Scandals. We don't just follow the stars. We bring the receipts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.